Hello, I'm Lijia Lin from East China Normal University. Today, I'm gonna share with you an empirical study my student and I conducted in early 2020. It's a study about engaging learners by tracing and summarizing in a computer-based environment. So, according to the literature, um, using our index finger to trace on the surface of the learning material can benefit learning. According to cognitive load theory, there are two types of knowledge. One is biologically primary knowledge, and the other is biologically secondary knowledge. Um, Using index finger is one type of biologically primary knowledge, and according to cognitive load theory, um, it costs very little mental effort. And also, um, by examining the literature, we found that tracing can chunk information, which can reduce intrinsic load, and also tracing can function as a video queuing device, which can reduce extraneous cognitive load. Another line of research about tracing is observing hand tracing. And there are neuroscience research showing that there is a mirror neural system in our brain. And this system um, is activated when we are learning from acting. And also, there are evidence showing that this area is also activated when we are learning from observing human movement. Um, and also from social agencies theory that address the effects of animated virtual agent, um, using a hand tracing and pointing in the learning environment can be considered as a type of social cue that can trigger learner motivation. But um, according to the contemporary engagement theories, both observing hand tracing and physical hand tracing may not sufficiently engage learners. Um, that's why in this study we looked at the effects of summarizing to see whether this strategy can further engage learners in computer-based learning environment. So, like I mentioned that the purpose of the study was to investigate whether using the summarizing strategy can further engage learners when they were engaged in tracing activities in the computer-based learning environment. Um, in recent literature, there is a call for research to further uh, investigate the effects of combined or a sequence of different strategies because in real settings, learners are very likely to use combined strategies. So we recruited 156 college students and we offered a small financial incentive for their participation. We designed a 3x2 between subjects design. Um, so we compared physical hand tracing to observing tracing and no tracing. The second independent variable we manipulated was summarizing. So we compared summarizing to no summarizing. Um, so the learners were expected to learn about human cardiovascular system, and we presented them 4 short videos, and the learning materials were presented via an online survey platform. In this study, we measured retention, transfer, cognitive load, intrinsic motivation, and a learner's prior knowledge. Um, so for the procedure of the experiment, we first randomly assigned the participants into different conditions, and then they did the pretest, which measured their prior knowledge. And then in the initial learning phase, they learned the human cardiovascular system from the four multimedia videos. And then they received the different treatments according to the condition they assigned to. And at last, they were tested for their retention, transfer, cognitive load, and intrinsic motivation. For those learners who in the hand tracing condition, they were um, instructed to use their index finger to trace the blood flow on the graph presented on the computer screen for 3 times. For those who in the observing tracing condition, they were asked to watch the animation that showed a human hand tracing the blood flow on the diagram for 3 times. And for the no tracing condition, learners proceeded to the next phase of the experiment. And for the next phase of the experiment, those who were assigned to the summarizing condition, they were instructed to type their written summaries in a text box. And for those in the no summarizing condition, they proceeded to the next phase of the experiment, which is the post-test part. We conducted an ANCOVA to analyze retention and transfer. We found that those who in the summarizing condition had higher retention scores than those who did not summarize, but we didn't find any significant difference on transfer. We also conducted an analysis of variance on cognitive load measures and intrinsic motivation measures. We found that observing tracing had higher rating than hand tracing and no tracing on germane load and interest. So for this study, we did not find any significant difference between the observing tracing and hand tracing condition on retention and transfer. So this is actually the empirical evidence that can support the argument in the literature saying that learning from observing others is equivalent to learning from doing by oneself. But we did find that observing hand tracing has benefits in terms of enhancing germane cognitive load and enhancing interest. These findings actually highlight the importance of providing social cues in computer-based learning environment. But we didn't find any significant results in terms of hand tracing. This may be due to the fact that we implemented the study during the COVID-19 pandemic where our participants were staying at their homes. So they did the hand tracing on their own computers, which may have different screen sizes. We believe this may have impacted the results of our study. And finally, we only find that summarizing had effects on retention but not on transfer, which is different from the literature. We believe that this may be due to the modality of the summary implemented in our study. So in our study, we asked learners to generate written summaries, but maybe pictorial summaries may have different effects on learning outcomes. This is the future direction we are considering to pursue. That's it for the presentation. Thank you very much.